What's up, people? It's your boy Clement here, and I'm here with my buddy
Ebenezer.
And we are coming to you from EBC Financial Solutions. All right?
Yes, sir.
So now we're just gonna advise people who need financial advice. And before we start, we just want to say, if you have anything you're struggling with, whether it has to do with credit, budgeting, just if you want to get a loan, mortgage, anything, feel free to DM us. Feel free to comment on our videos. Feel free to send us an email, and we will read your story and give you the best advice we can.
Exactly.
And when we drop these videos, people also give you advice in the comment section.
Yeah.
So be sure to watch out for the comments as well.
What do we have here today?
So today, somebody brought us a question, or they need advice about financing versus leasing cars. So yeah. Personally, I've never had to finance or lease a car, but he has a lot of experience.
He has always bought his cars in cash.
Yeah.
He did. I have financed and leased. I've financed 2 cars and leased 1 car. Well, my lease is still ongoing.
Yeah. But before we start, my first car, I bought it with at the time it was like $7,000 cash. I should have financed it and paid it off in like 6 months.
Yeah. Even in a month or 2.
Yeah, that would have been really good for my credit. But I was just so hyped about paying for it.
So in actuality, you have never had a car note.
No.
You know that can hurt your score. Not your score.
It would have helped it.
No, but I've heard, I haven't done the thorough research about this, but I heard that if you don't have any history for car note, your first one, sometimes it could hurt you.
Oh.
I've heard that. I mean, you have a whole bunch of other things like loans and stuff. You have paid it off and stuff like that. So I don't know how that will counter against that. But like as somebody fresh who's coming up, low credit score, no credit, and they never finance the car. I heard that it can really go against you as your first car, no matter how good your credit is. No. So I don't know how that can affect. We will find out and come and tell you guys. But today, it's more about leasing versus financing.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay.
So this person said, "Hi, please advise. I've never had a car note because I've always bought and fully paid for my cars. I tend to always go for the low priced ones. My car broke down recently, and since I have a much better job now, Uncle somebody, I'm considering going for the car I actually want. So now it's not about the car I need. It's about the car I want.
I want to upgrade.
Boss got a nice job, so you gotta whip some luxurious. I mean, my boss always said that in life, your home is where you spend the most time.
Your job
is where you spend the second one. In your job, you normally don't have control of it.
Yeah.
The third one is your car. So it's nice to have a nice car.
Yeah. When you have a nice car, you want to drive it always too.
When you sit in it, you gotta feel it. So I feel you, boss. But let's go. I'm stuck between leasing and financing it. The financing seems to be the option I'm leaning towards, since I get to keep the car after paying for it. Okay, that's a good point. But the interest rates involved is also bothering me a bit. Yeah, crazy economy now. And what if I want to change the car in the near future, which can be more advantageous with leasing? So please advise. So he's basically saying that between financing and leasing, I guess for somebody who's never been involved in any one of those, they don't know if they should go with financing or leasing. Financing, from what he's saying, the advantage he sees with it is you pay for the car. After you're done paying for it, you keep it. But of course, you got to deal with the interest rates and all of that.
Everything else with it.
And when you finance, later if you want to change the car, especially if you're not done paying for it, the only thing you can do is trade it in, which you may not get.
Well, you can trade it in. You can also sell it.
Can you sell it if you're still paying for it?
Yeah, you can sell it. So, okay, so...
But yeah, we will get into that. But with your experience, I mean, what do you think? We can talk about the advantages of financing. The advantages of leasing.
So I leased my Honda, and then I financed my Honda, and I was financing my Camaro before I sold it. So I sold my Camaro whilst I was still financing it.
Okay.
So my Honda, I paid it off completely before even the time. Obviously, it's always better to pay it off earlier if you can, if you have the means to. It's always also the best to buy in cash if you have the money. So even if it's a 40K car, you want to buy it in cash. But it won't help your credit.
But dropping that much money on a car.
But usually they say pay for it so you can have the car and own the car. I don't advise that. Even if you have the money, at least put some as down payment, and then you can pay it off quicker as the time goes by. Okay, for it to reflect good on your credit. But then if you have a car note, basically at the end of the pay period, whether you pay it off or you wait for the 5 years, 3 years, whenever, however long you have planned to pay it off, you are going to own the car, right? If you want to change the car, you also can sell the car. But think about it is, let's say I have my Tesla right now, I'm financing it, but then if I want to change it right now for another car, it depends on how much worth the car is right now.
Yeah.
So if I owe 30,000 on the car right now, and then the value is 25,000 right now, when I sell the car, I have to pay the difference between that onto the next car. So when you go to the dealership, sometimes they will let you do that.
But what I'm saying, so let's say you finance a car, you're still paying for it, and I come to you and I'm like, yo, I want to buy the car. Since you don't have the title, do I have to give you the money first to go pretty much pay it off?
Yeah.
Before you can sell.
So when I wanted to get a Tesla after 1 year of owning my Camaro, and then I sold it to CarMax. Okay, I sold it to CarMax. They gave me like a pretty good deal. I only had to pay a balance of $100 because first of all, I didn't make any payment for the first 90 days because it was a promotion from the bank. Secondly, they paid off, everything was paid off. I didn't have to, but they gave me a check to give it to Apple.
Okay.
To pay it off. So that's why they will do that. So they will send a check to Apple and you just pay the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much you have to get that money to go pay off the lender first.
Yes.
And then you get the title.
Yeah.
And then give the title.
They will take it. They will work it in the background. I don't even have to go pay. I think I just have to pay the difference because they will contact Apple and stuff. Those are background stuff. You just have to sign off and forget exactly, but it's gonna work like that. They can handle a lot of things in the background. Okay. So.
So I guess that's the downside is the difference.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So if you sell a car right now, especially used cars are crazy prices right now. So. Usually a lot of miles and it's still expensive. So sometimes depending on, right now my car is worth less right now. If I was not leasing my Tesla and I was financing and I wanted to sell it, I may not have gotten a good amount of money, but whatever difference it is, 5,000, 10,000, if I want another car, I have to pay that difference. So it wouldn't make sense in that way. But you can finance and do it. There are some cars that don't lose value quickly, like Toyotas and then Lexus and stuff like that. Even my Camaro at that time, because it was the pandemic time, used cars were more attractive. They were more, they held their value a lot more because the shortages of the chips and stuff like that, right? So I was able to sell it and not lose money. I only pay $100 difference. So it was a good time for me. It made sense for me to sell. I didn't have to put anything, pay any difference and stuff. And sometimes with the insurance, you can pay the gap insurance.
Okay. And they cover the value.
Sometimes they will cover the value and stuff like that. So you want to look into that. Even lease to sometimes you can do that. So that's the financing.
So what went into financing, right? What I mean is like, what did you need in order to finance it?
So with the finance, one thing about this is obviously they look at your credit score to tell you how much you are going to pay monthly and whether you're going to put something down or not. So with the financing, I got a pretty good rate. I forgot, but I was paying around $500. I don't remember if I put anything. I don't think I did, but I was paying. My credit was good. I had good amount interest rate and stuff. So I was paying around $500 per month.
But now it's like the interest rate is a bit high, around 7 to 10%.
Yeah. So usually when you get a good interest rate, you are good and you are good to go, right? On the side of the lease.
Yeah. So the finance part, I want us to. So pretty much you need a good credit, and then you get to pay the interest rate, and you can do a zero down finance.
Zero down finance
if you want.
If there are some people that if your credit is bad, you can't sell the car to you. They will want you to put something down. Recently, one of the people that we are fixing their credit, if you remember, they got approved. They wanted to get a new car. The car that they wanted, because of his credit, they won't give him. But they said, oh, there's this other one we can give. Even that, you have to put like a lot of money down. Okay. I think I have 2 scenarios like that. Okay. So somebody to like maybe $20,000 car, you have to put $8,000 down because of your credit. Okay. But me, him, the
zero down comes down to your credit.
Exactly. So if you have excellent credit, especially me, I have like 3 cars now on my credit report. I can choose not to put anything down. I'll just pay higher monthly payment, but I don't have to put anything down. There are some people, no matter what, you have to put like $1,000 or something like that. That's it. But apart from those circumstances, if you have a great credit, you can choose not to put anything down. But if your credit is bad, you have a bad credit history, you probably have a car you never paid off, late payments and all of that, you are a risky borrower right now. Right. So for you have to put, on top of the high interest rate, you have to put significant money down. Okay. So they know at least you covered a lot of the money, and then they will give you the car. So, yeah.
Cool. So the advantage of the financing, I guess just like he said, is that once you're done paying for it, then it's your car.
Then you own the car. Yes, they will send you the title and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now to the leasing side, what is the advantage of leasing for you?
So this is the first time I was leasing. It's one of the reasons I wanted to see how the whole process worked and stuff like that. I'm happy to have leased it. There's down and back side. Most dealerships, when you lease a car and then you feel like you don't want the car anymore, or for whatever reason, you can also sell it. For leasing too, you can also sell it. Do a lot of things, return it for a new car.
But you have to pay for it.
You have to pay the difference if you want to trade in for another car, because with leasing they calculate how much they think the car will be at the term of your lease. Okay. So the finance they pay, you just the whole value, you calculate the interest rate. So leasing usually, sometimes you still have to get good credit. Sometimes credit don't really count like that in the lease. Even though it still counts, it doesn't really count like that.
Do you pay interest rates with the lease?
No, they
it's just the value of the car.
Yeah, so for me, what I know is they will calculate, they would have already calculated that I leased for 36 months, which is 3 years. Okay. So they said, by this time, this is how much the car would have been worth. So you are paying towards that amount. Okay. So if you go towards that amount and the car is worth more and you want to trade in for another car, you probably have come up at that time. Or if you want to buy the car now, you can buy the car out like that.
Based on the difference.
Based on the difference. So I'll try and put some screenshot I had like some days back. My Tesla, after a year, I enjoyed it, I loved it, but I was like, I want another car. But with Tesla, every other dealership, but Tesla, at least to my knowledge right now, you can trade it in, you can sell the car and pay it off, pay the difference if there was a difference. But specifically for Tesla, you cannot sell the car. Okay. You cannot do anything. The only thing you can do is extend the lease a little bit, or transfer it into somebody's name. Okay. I think that would work for other companies.
And that person becomes the new leasee?
Yeah. You have to. That person also has to qualify. You check their credit, so you can't just send it to anybody. Okay. So and do that, and then the only way I can return my Tesla is terminate the lease. Okay. And to terminate the lease, you pay fees. In the fees you pay is more like you pay the value of the car right now. You pay the difference of the value of the car. After a year plus, when I'm like, nah, I don't think I want to drive a Tesla again, or I'm at least done with it for now. When I checked at that time, they wanted me to pay $4,000 in difference the first time. Okay. That was so it looks like they calculated the value, and by this time maybe the car is worth $4,000 more. Okay. Right, less, worth $4,000 less. So I had to pay that $4,000. Then I think after 2 years or whatever, I checked, and they said I have to pay a difference of $7,000, which is, so as I got closer to my lease, the worth dropped.
Yeah.
You see, so the last time I checked, until the previous one recently I did, it was worth $9,000 to pay in difference. I said, hell no. last time I went to the dealership, I was showing the guy, and then it was like it came back up a little down to $7,000, almost $8,000. Okay. So the lease, they calculate the value for you, how much they think the car will be worth at the end of your term or whatever. So if you are going to turn the car in, that's how much they will calculate it. So the interest, it doesn't really deal with, because everything will be calculated into it. I think they will still use your interest rate though. We have to check that, but I think because it can help reduce also your payment too in a way. The interest rate can still in a way help you, but and with the lease, you can also have recently looked to my insurance. I see you can get a lease fee. You can pay that if you wanted to do something or whatever. They can pay the difference too. Okay. So it's very cheap to pay that. Okay. And then with the lease, the thing about the lease is when the lease is up. So Tesla hit me. I already knew that, but usually lease you can pay a down payment, but you don't have to.
Okay.
I pay $6,000 so I can have a lower payment, right?
Okay.
And then you go, they will give you everything, and then when you are returning the car, if you are not getting another car from the same company, usually you pay some additional fee. They call it disposition fees. So at least a couple of hundreds, like maybe 500 to 1,000, depending, and they will check the car and make sure you haven't damaged the car. Okay, so if you damage the car,
that was gonna be my next question.
Okay,
is the lease? So before we get into the damage part, in a layman's point of view, is the lease more like a long-term rental?
Yeah, you are renting. You are renting a car. Yeah,
you're renting it for the period of the lease, pretty much.
You're renting the car to not own it.
Okay.
You can pay for it at the end if you want.
Okay.
But you are basically, it's like enterprise. You go rent their cars, but they also sell cars, right?
Yeah.
If you go rent it and you come back, please, I like this car. Can you sell it to me? They sell cars too, so they probably can sell it to you.
Right.
So it's more like renting a house. You never own the house. You are just renting it. At the end of the term, you leave.
Move out. Yeah.
You move out. So lease is the same way. You are renting the car basically. The good thing about a lease is every few years you are getting a new car.
Right.
So the good thing about leases, every few years you can get a new car, because most of the time that's the reason why people lease cars.
Yeah.
So you can have a new car every year, right? You have a new car every year. You still have payments forever and ever if you keep doing it, but then you have a new car every year. Mm-hmm. So it starts from 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, and 60 months, I think, whatever. I did 36 months, which is 3 years. You can do shorter term, especially but the shorter the term, the more money you pay.
Okay.
Because if I chose 1 year, I'll probably pay way more, because the car will lose value quickly. So they calculate everything into that. Yeah. So you pay more right up front for 1 year. Okay. 2 years, 3 years is that makes sense for most people. But there are some deals, especially for the electric cars that I'm looking at, some of them actually 24 months, which is 2 years, it doesn't change much. No change or less change. So with the lease, you're getting a new car every year, the latest. You cannot lease an old car. So your car that you have driven for years like that, you can't lease it, because
you can only lease a new car.
A very brand new car.
That's also a key point.
Yeah.
You can't lease a used car.
No, you cannot lease. The only used car you can lease is the ones that the dealerships have, and they use it for.
I mean, those ones, they are not really used.
They are not used. Yeah. They use it for courtesy for few miles. Yeah. And then with that, because nobody owned it, it can be considered as they call it a courtesy vehicle. They can sell it to you. But a car that's like a year, 2 year old and stuff, you cannot lease it. And then most of the time, it's not all the time, because sometimes I've seen lease be more expensive than finance. But on most occasions, leasing is cheaper than financing. So in recent times, interest rate, we have excellent credits, but they are quoting at 6 to 7% interest rate, right, for cars. But depending on the car, you pay $800, $600, sometimes cheap car, right? Mm-hmm. But with the lease, for the same amount, you pay way less money.
Right.
You pay way less money. Maybe even $100 difference, $200 difference is still different, right?
Different.
So with leasing, because leasing is also a way for the manufacturer to let you try their cars without owning the car and repairing the car. So with lease too, you don't have to make repairs. Most of the time, they have a coverage for a year or two or something. By that time, you would have returned the car. Mm-hmm. So everything is almost covered. There are some things that they don't cover. When I have my Tesla, when the rock hits my glass, my windshield, I had to replace it. I had to pay my day discounted for me, but I had to pay it.
Right.
Back to the returning the car. If
the damage part, yeah.
If I return my car and it's a regular wear and tear, no problem. Mm-hmm. Regular driving, few scratches here and there, fine. Right. But if I return it and there's like a big dent, mm-hmm. like the tires all scratched up, whatever, then I will pay for those costs. So, so you have to be willing to.
So I guess with the lease, is like, since the car is not yours, you have to be extra careful.
You have to be extra. That's one disadvantage of that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do the leasing cover for my insurance so that just in case anything comes. But yeah, so you have to be more careful about your driving.
Because the car is not yours.
It's yours, but it's still not yours, right?
Yeah.
Because if anything significant happens to the car, you are paying for it. And one thing about it is, you have to choose how much you drive per year.
The mileage.
The mileage.
Okay.
So with the mileage for financing, in a month you can drive 100k miles. Nobody cares. It's your car.
It's your car, yeah.
Except it will lose a lot of value if you go to sell it, right? But with the lease, you have to choose the least I've seen is 7,500 miles per year. Mm-hmm. 10,000 miles per year, 12,000 and 15. Obviously, the more miles you do per year, the more you pay. So I did 15,000 miles for 36 months because even though I was working from home, I like to drive and shit. Yeah. So I thought maybe it would be less because I've traveled with it here and there. But then I realized I should have actually gone for 12,000 or less.
Yeah.
Because
I'll probably go for 7,000.
Yeah.
Because my car.
Yeah, you never drive.
Yeah,
so
I only drive on weekends and stuff.
Yeah. So because of that, so usually if you don't drive a lot, if you want to try a car out and you can afford it, especially if you have another used car or another car is paid for or less money, and you just want to try cars out, you can lease it for the least amount of time.
Like a year.
A year or something. That way you try it and see whether you like the car or not. Right. And then after a year, if you don't like it, you return it. You pay the little disposition, another fee, return fee, and stuff like that. Probably $500 or less, or maybe $1,000, whatever. You pay that and stuff. So lease is like to try out the car, but you'll be limited to how much you drive.
Yeah.
And the more you up your miles per year, recently I thought you could do only one time, but the Mercedes guy told me that you can get it for 7,000, and if you feel like you are driving more, you can get them to change it again.
Yeah.
And they'll readjust your payment. So that's one new information. So those are the things. If I remember anything, I would say. But those are the advantages and disadvantages of leasing versus doing financing.
Okay.
But the most important thing for the guy is, before you speak, is you have to make sure you can afford.
Right.
You have to make sure you can afford the car. Anything can happen. That's why you want to set some money aside and stuff like that. But since your money is up right now, and then you think you can, if you think you want to keep the car for a long term and stuff, you talk, we will continue.
Well, by the way, thank you for bringing this question up. I've learned a lot too, because like I said, I've never had to lease or finance a car either. So it's an eye-opening, discussion for me too.
We will discuss if it's advisable to lease or rent, lease or finance a car in this time, in this today, because the current interest rate. So go ahead.
Yeah. So what I've picked up is that if the interest rate is what is bothering you, if you're going for a brand new car, I've been doing few
with
test
high
drives
interest rates
of late. Like last time I went to Mitsubishi dealership as well, and the guy was telling me that if you buy their car, they actually give you interest free for 4 years. And now telling you the Honda dealership here is offering the same thing, where they have it on specific cars, not all their cars.
Yes.
So for specific cars, if you buy, they give you free interest for 4 or 5 years. So ask about that. The car you want. First of all, if you're buying a used car, even if it's slightly used, you're out of the lease discussion.
Yeah, you are, and then your interest rate will always be more than.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're buying a brand new, if the interest rate is what is bothering you, there's very likely that a dealership would probably give you interest free. Just ask them about it.
Yeah, but like you said, it's specific cars, okay?
Yeah.
There are some cars that it's not selling or they want to move it out of the lot. So those cars, they will say 0% interest rate or 2.9 or 1.9. So they can sell the car. So it's not every car, and there are some cars, they are so cheap to the extent that they're not gonna put any deal on it. They may reduce it by a few.
Yeah. So personally, I normally like to just go for the finance, just because I don't like, if I'm driving a car, I want to be as comfortable as possible. Like, I feel like if I'm driving and feeling like if something goes wrong, I get to pay for it, then I don't get to enjoy the car the way
Whilst it feels like that, I've never felt like I never own my car. I drive, but I'm a very good driver. I try to be as good. It's not even because of the lease. I just try to treat the car nice, because if you do that, it's gonna last, and you don't have to make a lot of repairs and stuff like that. So because of that, I try to drive as good as possible. I've always felt like it's my car. I whip it, I do whatever and stuff like that. But like you said, you still have to keep that, especially since my lease is approaching, my end of lease is approaching. I'd be like, damn, man, I hope they don't find none, you know what I'm saying?
But one question for you though, if you went into a dealership and they gave you free interest, 0% on a brand new car, 0% interest, would you just finance and then later on, if you don't want it, resell it? Or that 0% interest rate versus a lease, what would you go for?
Okay, so I'll answer in two parts. Right now, as we are here, I love to drive new cars. So because of that, but even that,
but you can sell it.
I can sell it. I think financing is the best option. You remember the Mercedes-Benz that I went to test drive and saying that car, if it was very low interest rate, I may have went for that car, because it was not very expensive for the car and the mileage, very low mileage that it had. So I think usually financing is the best, because when you finance and you pay a little bit extra, now whenever you want to sell it, it will be worth more.
Right.
So that you don't come up short. Because if you only pay the what you have to pay, and the car is worth less, now you have to come out of pocket if you really want to sell your car and stuff like that. So right now, if you get the same car that you want, especially if you want to keep the car for longer, you never want to change your car. If you have a car, you drive it till it goes bad or whatever. So in this case, I will choose the finance option, because you can get to not pay any interest on the car. You pay the same amount, and then whenever you want, you can sell the car.
And even if, I guess you have to go through the hassle of selling, but me personally, if I was getting 0% on a car, even if I was going to keep it for short term, I'll still finance it, just to have that flexibility. And later on, if I don't want it anymore, I can sell it or trade it in to get a new one. If I'm getting 0% interest. But if you're getting like the 7% interest, that's where it gets tricky.
Because let me tell you right now, because of the economy and the inflation, it's very expensive to finance a car. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why, because I was trying to buy the car and then drive it and probably sell it if I wanted a new car, right? But because of the interest rate right now, the cars that I want in the range, we're looking at a 40K or something like that to finance. The ones we've been seeing from 40 under 39, 35 and stuff like that. Sometimes even if you put money down at 6-7%, you are paying $700, $800. It's crazy. And you have to pay that if you do it for 36 months, 60 months or whatever. You have to pay that for that long, except you refinance it for a better rate in the down the road, right? But you are gonna pay that every month. Right. If you have the money, usually you don't care about none of that, right?
Yeah.
Even if still you should care though, especially about the interest rate and stuff like that. But sometimes if we have excellent credit like me, like still it's expensive. Because of that, I want to do a lease again. As of right now, because of the fact that with leases it's cheaper, mostly cheaper. Sometimes they have deals going on. Because right now I'm most likely gonna get another electric car, probably Mercedes or something. But if I do get one, their cars are discounted automatically. There's 7,500 off. That's the EV incentive.
Okay.
So it's discounted, and then I'm probably gonna buy a 24 model, and by that time there will be the new 25s coming out. So they may even give me additional discount because EVs right now they've been selling still, but they are not selling right now. A lot of people are pulling away and stuff like that. So usually you can get some more incentive for electric cars.
Batteries not blast still.
It's not the batteries. It's not even the batteries because the charging and stuff like that. And then usually electric cars are worth less after you own them. They still try to overcharge, but usually after it's used, it doesn't. A lot of people are running away from it now because people are in cold states and some people have misconceptions and all. That's what I'm going to talk about in my car channel. But so because of that, the misconception, the problems, because when EV breaks down, you pay more money than the regular gas car most of the time.
Okay.
So my car, I haven't had to make a single maintenance, but it's more expensive on average to repair an electric vehicle if it breaks down. That's why they charge more insurance.
Okay.
That's why insurance charge you more than a regular car. So the same trim for gas and whatever, you probably may pay more for an electric vehicle because of the electric cars, because too many electric stuff going on. So it's not, batteries actually are not as bad as people think and stuff. So yeah, so because least the Mercedes right now, I'm always on their website. If you go there right now, there are special deals. There are C300s. If you finance it, you'll be paying, let's say, with nothing that you probably paying $1,000 because it's around $50 something or whatever, 1,900 or whatever. But if you lease it, they have a special deal going on right now. The one I saw is like $569 if you put like maybe $5,000 or $3,000 down.
Oh, okay.
But if the same one, when I switches to finance, even at $5,000 down, you are paying like $900,000.
Yeah.
Because as you told me before, every $1,000 is like $10 off, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Well, I hope you've learned something, and it comes down to pretty much what you want. Like I said, if the interest rate is your main problem, look through it, because you can find dealerships that will give you free interest if you're buying a brand new car. Mm-hmm. And
right now, if you don't need the car, wait till end of the year from September to have great deals, better deals, because those times the new cars are coming, so they're gonna reduce the one that's in stock for the current year so that it can sell quickly and stuff. Because if you really don't have to, you're gonna waste money.
Yeah, cool. So, viewers, if you have experience leasing or financing, be sure to drop comments as well to help a brother out. If you advise leasing or financing, me personally, I like to own stuff, so I tend to go with financing. That's what I'm saying. Especially if I'm getting a very low interest.
It depends on the season, the interest, a lot of stuff.
And a lot of stuff.
But most of the time, it's better to finance to own.
Yeah. So that's what we have for you. Be sure to check the comments for more advice from people as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing this up. If you need financial advice, if you're trying to build your credit, if you're trying to learn about money, getting loans, mortgages, and all of that, EBC Finance, we're here. We'll put a link in the comments. Feel free to go in and book a free consultation appointment with us. You can talk to one of us, and we get to answer questions you have, help you build credit for that dream car or dream house you want. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.